Brahmamam paramam prapu
Sangashatasahasrashaha Matkamaaramanam jaram Aswarupa vidobala Brahmamam paramam prapu Sangashatasahasrashaha those who desire Ramanam, a charming lover, Jaram, the lover of another's wife. Aswarupa Vidaha, not knowing my actual situation. Abalaha, women. Brahma, the absolute. Me. Paramam, supreme. Prapuhu, they achieved. Sangha, by association. Shatasahasrashaha, by hundreds of thousands. Translation purport as given by the followers of Srila Prabhupada. All those hundreds of thousands of gopis, understanding me to be their most charming lover, and ardently desiring me that way, they're unaware of my actual position. Yet by intimately associating with me, the gopis attain me the supreme absolute truth. The words aswarupa vidaha, not understanding my actual position or form, indicate that the lovely gopis were so completely absorbed in conjugal love for Lord Krishna that they were not aware of the Lord's unlimited potency of the Supreme Personality of God. Shri Vishnu Thakur explained this another meaning of the word aswarupa vidaha. In Sanskrit, the word vid also means to acquire. Because aswarupa vidaha indicates that the gopis, like other pure devotees of the Lord, were not interested in achieving sarupya mukti, the liberation of acquiring a bodily form similar to the Lord's. Were the gopis to obtain a bodily form like the Lord's, how could the Lord execute his conjugal pastimes of dancing with the gopis and embracing them? Since the gopis had realized their eternal spiritual form, the servitors of the Lord, the word Swarupa may indicate their own spiritual bodies. And thus, Aswarupa Vida means the gopis never thought as materials of their own bodily beauty. Although the gopis are the most beautiful girls in the Lord's creation, they never thought of their own bodies, but rather were always meditating on the transcendental body of the Lord Krishna. Although we cannot imitate the gopis' exalted conjugal feelings, we can follow the supreme example of practical Krishna consciousness. They naturally took shelter of Lord Krishna and achieved the highest perfection of life. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Gacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Vanchakalparubhescha Kripa Sindhubhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna. So today in the third and the final part of our discussion on how Krishna is consoling Uddhava by reminding him of the test faced by the greatest devotees, that is the gopis. So we skipped one verse because there are three sections, there are four verses in Krishna's remembrance. The previous verse talked about how the gopis attained absorption in Krishna. तानाविदन्मै अनुसन्नबद्धा धियः स्वमात्मानमरस्तथेदं यथा समाधौ मुनयो ये तद्यः प्रविश्य इव नामरूपे. So here Krishna uses a provocative example which is often used by the impersonalists to explain Nadyaha Pravishya iva namarupe. Just like Abditoy, just like rivers enter into ocean, similarly the gopis entered into me. Tanavidan my anusandho. That by being attached to me, bound by attachment, Diya Swamatman Adastatedam. So their entire being was completely absorbed in me. Yatha samadham unayobhito. That just as sages in their samadhi entered into me, similarly the gopis entered into me. And then he gives the example, the classic impersonalist example. So let's look at what Krishna is saying overall in these four verses. So what basically the specific verse, see there are certain examples which are seen as in the term Brahma. Whenever we hear it, we start thinking of it as impersonalism. But Brahma is just a generic term for spirituality. Athato Brahma Jigyasa does not mean inquire about the impersonal aspect of the absolute. Brahma is a generic example for spiritual, generic term for spiritual reality. So like that, the rivers going to the ocean. It is not that the impersonalists have a monopoly on the example. We can't give monopolies to such a powerful example to the impersonalists. In their interpretation, the focus is on merging. In the devotional context, in bhakti, the focus is on meeting. And it is an ongoing meeting. Just like a river constantly keeps flowing toward the ocean. Similarly, for a devotee, the consciousness constantly keeps flowing toward the Lord. So he's using that particular example that the gopis constantly the consciousness moving toward the Lord. And Kunti Maharani also, in one of her last plays, she says that Gange Vaugham Udanvati. This Ganga flows towards the ocean. So what exactly is Krishna telling in this series of verses? What Krishna is essentially saying is that it is important for us to recognize if these are these four verses, the verse we discussed just now was that they attained union, loving union with me without knowing my position. Aswarupa Vida. Now, the previous verse says that they became absorbed in me. So it was more of a immersion of consciousness than a dissolution of being. That when there is immersion of consciousness, that is what we talk about, not like the dissolution of one's being, where a person no longer exists. That's not the implication of the river ocean metaphor. And then we discussed in the first verse, talked about the agony of the gopis. Mathuram Pranit, the gopis are completely heartbroken when Krishna departed. And then the verse we discussed yesterday focused on the theme of how even one moment was unbearable for them. Hina Maya Kalpasamabahu. So it was one moment became like a millennium for them. So the overall progression of thought here is that in separation, the first two verses are depicting the separation. The next verse is depicting the absorption. Mhm. So within separation, there can be an even greater absorption. Now, what does this mean? The way we have discussed the classes, two classes that we discussed yesterday was that how Uddhava faced the greatest test that one can face. And then we all try to, when we face tests, then is to try to accommodate things within some structure of meaning. And Buddhi Yoga is what helps us to find meaning even among great difficulties. So, what is the meaning that Krishna is conveying over here for Uddhava through the example of the gopis? So, with respect to Krishna, there is Krishna as a person and there is Krishna as a principle. So, when we say Sarva Karana Karanam, we're talking about the principle that God is the source of everything. And if we focus too much on the person, we make the person mundane. We become sentimental. If it was only on the person. This can happen even to the Guru. And somebody focuses too much on the person of the Guru, personhood or the personality of the Guru, and will start neglecting the principle. That's how personality can start forming. On the other hand, we focus too much on the principle, then we end up becoming impersonal. So there has to be a balance between understanding God as a person and understanding God as a principle. When Uddhava had gone to Vrindavan, at that time, Uddhava's main purpose among everything that he was speaking is that the principle is more important than the person. That is the message he had given. He was essentially telling them, oh gopis, you are feeling separation from Krishna, but separation from Krishna is impossible because he is everywhere. Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha, Ito Yato Yami Tato Narsimha. So God is here, God is there, God is everywhere. So in that sense, Uddhava had tried to give that message to the gopis. And the gopis said, that's all right, but when is Krishna going to come back? So for them, the principle Krishna did not matter. They wanted the person Krishna. So that's why their focus was the word used over here, Aswarupa. That they didn't really care. So that of the position of Krishna. So, but the truth was, while they didn't care for the position of Krishna, Krishna actually when he left Vrindavan, in the remembrance of Krishna, Gopal Champu says, there are two distinct categories. There is Smriti and there is Spurti. Smriti is conscious recollection. When we chant the holy names, our mind goes everywhere and we try to consciously bring it back to the holy name. We bring it back to Krishna. But Spurti is spontaneous recollection, where the recollection comes automatically from within. And there's a famous verse in which this word Spurti. Yes, Swayam eva Spuratyataha. Atah Sri Krishna Namadi Nabvedgrayam Sevonukhe Javadau Swayam eva Spuratyataha. So, now Smriti is an essential part of sadhana. Spurti is entirely kripa. So by sadhana, we try to cultivate remembrance of Krishna. It's important for us to do that. But once we have the mercy, then Spurti just emerges naturally. And Gopal Champu describes, while Krishna left Vrindavan, actually Krishna when leaving Vrindavan entered deeper into the hearts of the Vrajavasis. And thus, he was constantly there, remembering. And the gopis, they compose songs, longing for Krishna to come. And they say, Krishna, we try to make beautiful gardens for you. While we are here waiting for you to come, we try to make beautiful gardens for you. But we water the gardens with soothing, cool water. But before the creepers can grow, the hot tears from our eyes, they fall on the creepers and all the creepers die. And that is the agony. We, not only have you gone away from us, but you have taken away our capacity to do anything for you. When we try to cook something for you, the tears from our eyes fall and it prevents us from doing that. So, from a material perspective, the gopis seemed desolate and dysfunctional. They seemed abandoned by Krishna and they seemed to have broken down completely. They seemed completely dysfunctional. But from the spiritual perspective, they were in the highest state of ecstasy, highest state of absorption. When Mahaprabhu was in ecstasy, now later religious scholars, they try to equate the states of spiritual ecstasy with epileptic fits. They say that there's something gone wrong with the brain of the person, and that's why the person is experiencing things which indicate that they have mentally broken down. And this happens even in Mahaprabhu's times. When Mahaprabhu has ecstasies, some Brahmins come and say, you should apply this coconut oil, apply this oil, that oil. So then his temperature, his head will cool down. And then he will become normal. But the point is that there is a set of normal experiences and there is a set of paranormal, supranormal. Paranormal is a big category, but within that, one subcategory is transcendental experiences. So, and the so paranormal is a large category. Within that, transcendental. So, what Mahaprabhu is experiencing, what the gopis are experiencing is transcendental. Now, does transcendental mean that we can't understand it at all? No, it goes beyond our normal experience. And if we are ready to open our minds that there can be some experience beyond the normal, then it is possible to understand. The nature of this world is such that if anybody bases their faith only on this world, it's even the evidence of God in this world, then that faith is going to be unsteady. That we eventually need to choose in our faith journey that the inner experience matters more than the outer experience. And that means, so where is Krishna taking Uddhava through this discussion? Krishna, when we say Pattaram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, Krishna does not need anything material from us to express our devotion to Him. So similarly, we should not need anything material for us to see Krishna's faithfulness. It is a reciprocal relationship. Now, if we consider I am here, Krishna is here. Krishna says, I am satisfied even with a leaf. Now, this does not mean that the devotee will only offer leaf. Devotees, Prabhupada wanted to offer grand temples to Krishna. We want to offer wonderful projects in Krishna's service. That is true, no doubt. But devotee, the Lord understands that even if a devotee doesn't offer me anything, ultimately what I want is the heart of the devotee. And similarly, what it should be from the Lord's side is that what the Lord gives us, no, it can be materially insignificant. And just as the Lord does not base our devotion on the material quantity or material quality of our offering. Similarly, our faith in the Lord should not depend on the material quality or quantity of what we are getting. Again, this does not mean that the Lord will deprive us of everything, but our faith should not depend on that. It's a tall order. It's like, Yasyaham anugranami, it said that for those whom the Lord shows special mercy, he takes away everything. Now, everything can literally mean even the resources that we need for serving Krishna. And when that happens, that is very, very difficult to bear. So, the tests that are depicted in the Bhagavatam. See, Arjuna had never misused his archery ability. Bhima was a little short tempered. Arjuna was never short tempered. Even if he got angry, it was for a very short time and he never abused his power during the state of it. And yet, Krishna took away Arjuna's archery ability. And that was what, in one sense, completely broke Arjuna. But even when Arjuna was broken, he remembered that Krishna is still there with me. So, in our connection with Krishna, there is a desire for Krishna. Then there can be that we can have desire for abilities to serve Krishna. Then we can have desire for resources to serve Krishna. Now, resources could include wealth, it could include positions, it could include even people. Now, when Draupadi had to raise her hands up and surrender to Krishna, we know that situation, she was helpless. But the key thing is, she was not just helpless against Dushasana. Actually, it was that her own husbands, who were extremely powerful, they couldn't help her. So, normally, she would serve Krishna along with her husbands. They were devotees. So, normally, we serve with devotees. But there may come in our life a time when the devotees will not be able to help us. Devotees may misunderstand us. Devotees may be reduced to a state of powerlessness for whatever reason. And at that time, we have to, if Draupadi had kept turning around toward our husbands, why are you not doing anything for me? Then she would not have any protected with Krishna. So sometimes we may even have to choose between devotee association and Krishna. This is an emergency situation. It is not going to be a self-righteous situation where whenever we can't get so along with devotee, we say that I will serve Krishna. I have to choose between you and Krishna. That's not the justification. But the principle is, Prabhupada diligently tried to work with his god brothers in the body of it. When Prabhupada came to America, he had no intention actually of starting a completely different organization. He thought of his preaching mission as a part of his Guru Maharaj's preaching mission. And his Guru Maharaj started up Gaudiya Math. So Gaudiya Math he didn't see it as his god brother's mission. He saw it as Guru Maharaj's mission and his service as a part of his Guru Maharaj's mission. So in one sense, Prabhupada came abroad to start a branch of the Gaudiya Math. But then, when he just not only did not get any support coming to India from America, even while he was in America, not only this God does not help him, but they actively sabotaged him. That when he had got a pattern for getting funds from India for starting the center. He told his godbrother, that please stop with the Indian government because the direct foreign exchange was not coming. It was very easy to get out, not very easy to get out. His godbrother not only refused to talk, he actually, this is not mentioned in the Bible, but eventually he actually sent a letter to the donor saying that he is not a bona fide. So that, so Prabhupada decided that I have to go alone. So in emergency situations, even the things that are our pathway to Krishna, they can be taken away from us. And it's one thing to lose them. Prabhupada, what Prabhupada witnessed was actually very similar to what Uddhava witnessed. That Uddhava witnessed infighting among the Hindu dynasty. Prabhupada witnessed infighting in the government. It was over trivial things. That's what happened. Of course, it was not as brutal. It was not killing each other. But still, it was assassinating each other's character. It was going to legal battle and fighting. So Prabhupada had that forbearance that he could focus on Krishna directly. Namo Akinchanavitaya. That one who has nothing, they have. But that is the mood which Krishna is telling Uddhava over here. So the gopis, they were left with nothing when they came to Krishna. Or rather, when Krishna abandoned them. But they had nothing, and to the extent they had nothing, they had Krishna. Now, what does this mean for us? I'll make 2 points and then we'll keep the class short. We'll make 2 points. In general, for us, these kind of situations are going to be rare. We will not be, this is special mercy. One of my godbrothers, when he quotes it, Syamanugrahanami. This is special mercy. Krishna, I don't want this special mercy. I want ordinary mercy. Even that is enough. So the point is, we see our desires in progression. So from wherever we are, we seek desires. Like what we try to do is, we try to make our desire for Krishna more than our desire for abilities for Krishna. Or more than our desire for resources for Krishna. Now, while this is true, but still it is better that this desire, even the desire for resources for Krishna, is better than desire for material things for our own sake. So from where we are, we try to elevate our desires. So if, say, a devotee desires, that I want 1 million followers on Instagram, so that I can serve Krishna's message. Okay, that can be a desire. And maybe that's better than a desire, I want 1 million followers, so that I give them whatever I want. And I'll become famous. But, so it's like a stepping stone. From wherever we are, we try to elevate our desires. And if we can learn to elevate our desires, what should happen by the practice of bhakti? Athajittam samadhatum nashaknosi vaisthiram abhyasa yogini tato mam ichhaptum dhananjaya. Krishna says your desire for me should increase. So when we speak about Krishna, naturally, it's a natural desire that, okay, how many people are coming, how many people are taking seriously, how many people are getting transformed. That's a natural desire. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But by speaking about Krishna, our desire for Krishna Katha should be increasing, not just the desire for the effects of our Krishna Katha. If I speak about Krishna, there is, what is the effect of that? That is important, of course, but my attraction for Krishna should also be increasing. And this is illustrated in the last 5 verses of the Bhagavad Gita chapter 18. So, if we consider, the Gita could have ended in chapter 73. This is Arjuna saying Karishye Vachanam Tava. The Gita could have ended. But who speaks the last 5 verses? Sanjay. And what is he demonstrating over here? He is demonstrating that Krishna has the capacity to provide us happiness without success. And even if it be spiritual success. What do I mean by this? That Krishna spoke the message Gita to Arjuna, and Arjuna was transformed. Sanjay spoke the same Gita to Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra was not transformed. Although Dhritarashtra was not transformed, Sanjay himself was transformed. In 1876 and 1877, he states that Rishyami cha murmuhu, Rishyami cha punah punah. He describes that by contemplating Krishna's message, by remembering Krishna's form, I am able to be absorbed in you, O Lord. So that is actually the glory of Krishna. That he can actually provide us this capacity to be enriched and fulfilled, even when the material results will come, even when the material results go the opposite. So, in one sense, when Krishna is saying Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachina, be detached from the results. Krishna, the Gita is itself demonstrating that towards the end by depicting that how one can get success, happiness in the sense of the inner enrichment with Krishna's presence, even when every sign of success has gone off. And that is what is the ultimate, if you see, at the end of the Uddhav Gita, what does Uddhava say? He repeats the same prayer in a sense that Kunti says that, have mercy on me, let my consciousness always flow towards you. So if Krishna wants, Krishna can do wonderful things to us and Krishna can give great success to us. The same Krishna who empowered Hanuman to do spectacular things in his service. That same Krishna, or Lord Ram, same person, that same Lord Ram, you could say, had Jatayu attained martyrdom. And both are in their own way great devotees. So, as devotees, what Krishna is saying, Uddhava, is that the test of our devotion is that our Lord matters more than anything else. Any sign of success that we might get in this world. I'll conclude with, I made a small poem expressing Arjuna's plight. Let's see if you can find it. So this is Arjuna's plight as described in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. That Arjuna, whose arrows had never missed their target, found that his arrows had not even reached their target. That Arjuna, who had defeated an army of all the gods combined, had been defeated by a motley band of cowardly cowherds. That Arjuna, who had risen to heaven in his self-same body, had seen defeat that felt worse than hell in his self-same body. That Arjuna, who had been repeatedly enriched by Krishna's personal presence, now felt utterly bankrupt by Krishna's absence. That Arjuna, who felt battered and shattered, dejected and rejected, powerless and purposeless, that Arjuna wondered whether Arjuna was even Arjuna without Krishna. That Arjuna then remembered Krishna's words in the Gita. That Arjuna remembered that Krishna was his words in the Gita. That Arjuna remembered Krishna was with him through the words of the Gita. That Arjuna realized with rising relief and trembling awe. He was without Krishna, yet he was still with Krishna. The Krishna Bhagavan ki.
Jai.
Any questions or comments? Yes.
Very mesmerizing class, Prabhu. Elevating. So, Prabhu, this point was really striking. Our desire for Krishna should be the highest desire. The progression was really very illuminating. Then desire for abilities to serve Krishna. That also, those other desires are also somewhat material. No?
I somehow don't like the word material and spiritual very much. Because, say, material it's such a big category. Like, how many of you are Asians? Well, we are all Asians, but do we really think of ourselves as Asians? Asians are Indians, Chinese, Filipino, Iranian. It's such a big category as to be unhelpful. So in material, there is sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. And they are very different desires. So I somehow, that's why I feel that sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, that's a better categorization than simply calling a desirability. Somebody who wants money to have a mansion, and somebody who wants money for medical treatment of their child who is dying of cancer. Both are desires for money, but they are very different desires, isn't it? So that's why I find that material is too big a category to be helpful. So I would say that spiritual growth is a growth in selflessness. In Sattva also there's some level of selflessness. So we can say that maybe initially when we are seeking some ability or resources, it could be 90% of it is for our own ego, 10% is for Krishna's glorification. But we will find that if we keep serving Krishna, gradually it will change. It will become like, yeah, I want some glorification, but I want Krishna's glorification most. So we cannot practice pure devotional service without practicing devotional service first. And most of us cannot practice devotional service without first practicing service. What I mean is that suppose something is burdening my heart very much, like say parents, their child is terribly sick. If we can practice pure devotional service, that means your concern for your child is mundane. Don't pray to Krishna for your child's well-being. All that is going to happen by that is that is going to be a major part of the heart, isn't it? And if we say don't pray to Krishna for that, all that is going to happen is our heart, or at least a major part of our heart, is going to stay empty. So praying to Krishna is more important than whether our prayer is pure or not. So that's why devotional service is more important than pure devotional service, in the sense that it will help us grow. In terms of elevation, of course, pure devotional service is the highest. So I would say that that's why rather than simply classifying as material or spiritual, it's better to, from our tradition only, see things in terms of anukul and pratikul. So for somebody who has a desire for fame, there's that pastime of Prabhupada, one disciple used to sing very nice kirtans, and Prabhupada came to the temple at that time. And Prabhupada said, your kirtans are very nice. Prabhupada tapped him on his back. And he spoke about Prabhupada, I sometimes feel proud. Prabhupada just nonchalantly tapped him like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? There's so much wrong with that. We could say pride is a demoniac quality, more than Bhagavan. But if somebody has a deep-rooted longing for recognition, better let them become good at kirtan and seek recognition rather than sing Bollywood songs or sing some mundane songs for recognition. Isn't it? So I would say that at our level, we need to see what is anukul and what is pratikul and move forward. So for parents who, for example, the child is critical, for them praying to Krishna is anukul. Worrying whether my prayer is pure or not, that is not really the focus at that time. So from where we are, each one of us to decide what is Anukul and what is Pratikul. And what may be Pratikul for someone might be Anukul for someone else. So understanding that Pratikul and Anukul are different for different people is what will make us cool. Cool in the sense that it will be universally able to appeal to people.
So the question I had was, you gave examples of Draupadi connecting with Krishna without her husbands, and even Prabhupada directly connecting with Krishna without his god brother's support. In what connection was it?
I was saying that
progression?
even among that association is also a resource for connecting with Krishna. So sometimes that resource may not be available for us. That time we need to connect with Krishna directly. Okay? So,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can you hear me?
of course, one example for illustrating this point, it's say any kind of connection with Krishna. Like the gopis, for them it is a separation. Separation for them, or rather, let's put it this way. Yeah. Their relationship with Krishna is like a forest fire. And separation from Krishna is like a stormy wind. And when there's a forest fire, a separation brings a wind which spreads the fire much further. Like I mentioned previous last night, one of my friends in America, in California, is a firefighter. They say one of the worst nightmares in a forest fire is that is a stormy wind comes. So for them, separation increases their love for Krishna. Now, one devotee asks me, oh, I often have a lot of problems with devotees. They also go away from devotees. That separation will increase my devotion. He said, it's possible, but our relationship with Krishna can be like a candle flame, not a forest fire. And then if a stormy wind comes, the candle flame, what will happen is, will just be completely extinguished. So we have to be honest. Is my desire like a forest fire? Prabhupada's desire was like that. Even when his godbrothers are not supporting him, Prabhupada kept moving forward steadily. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Now the question.
Oh, thank you. Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam. Prabhuji, following up the previous question where we talked about Pratikul and Anukul, something that's always I've been thinking is, well, that's been told, go for the, from where we are, try to progress from there. But in order to even progress from there, sometimes we have to sort of push ourselves ahead, get out of our comfort zone, do something which we ideally don't, our senses or our mind doesn't allow us to do. So even if it means like faking it, or even though we don't feel it from within, we still have to push ourselves. Correct? Because most of our, we talk about how Aishwarya is considered below Madhurya, for example, where, serving Krishna in a Dasya Roop, or, looking at him in an Aishwarya Roop. That's how we actually, those are the protocols which we set up. But in the scriptures and in our learning, we always say that is sort of subordinate to the higher thing where there's a more intimate relationship, not that of just Aishwarya. So those different examples, we have to still push ourselves beyond that, and or do we just somehow wait for some, Paramatma within us to give us guidance, and we just do what we are doing?
Ourselves and beyond Aishwarya to Madhurya. See, in general, pushing is required, and we all need to come out of our comfort zone. But if you consider yoga is all about stretching our body. But a key thing is that even yoga teachers will tell you that we can't stretch our body in a way that is too painful. So we could say that we need We need a comfortable way to come out of our comfort zone. If the way is too uncomfortable, it will not be sustainable. So yes, we need to come out of comfort zone, no doubt. But it has to be in a comfortable way. By comfortable, I don't just mean we can be relaxing. Comfortable means that it's sustainable. So in general for us, at our level, the Aishwarya Bhav is what is recommended in our way we worship the Lord, in the way we cultivate the relationship, especially in terms of rituals. But in terms of our personal meditation and contemplation, Prabhupada wanted us to have a very intimate relationship with Krishna. One of my friends is in other Sampradaya, he said that you people have got everything wrong. He said with Krishna you use no honorific at all. No Sri Krishna, no Bhagavan Krishna. And with Radha you have a double honorific. Shrimati and Rani. So he said, why is it that why is it like that? So I explained to him that actually Prabhupada coined an entire term to describe Krishna. What is that? The Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that as far as honoring Krishna is concerned, Prabhupada is emphasized a lot. But at the same time, Prabhupada wanted us to have a personal relationship with Krishna. So in our personal prayers, no, we don't have to necessarily have a very Aishwarya. Now we can't prematurely have a Madhuri in the sense of the word Aishwarya and Madhuri have two different meanings. Or especially Madhuri has two distinct meanings. Madhurya can mean the opposite of Aishwarya, that is more of personal or intimate. But Madhurya can also mean conjugal. Now, technically, actually, Bhaktivedanta Thakur would use the word amorous, not conjugal, because conjugal refers to relationships within marriage. And the gopis are not married to Krishna, so it's for the clears. So, conjugal would refer to Swakiyaras. But so Bhaktivedanta Thakur would use the amorous love. But whatever it is, the point is, Madhurya, if we consider even the Gopa's relationship, even Yashoda's relationship, broadly speaking, that falls within the category of Madhurya. Everything in Vrindavan is in the mood of Madhurya. So if Madhurya means focusing more on the person God rather than the position of God, in that sense, we all need to cultivate that relationship. But specifically the Madhurya Bhav, in terms of the conjugal or the amorous relationship, that is premature for us. That can lead to unhealthy sentimentality. Prabhupada was once in Jagannath Puri and one woman came to me and came to him and she said, Swamiji, I had gone to take the darshan of Jagannath and Jagannath pulled my sari. He is performing that, what is that, Leela? In Krishna stole the clothes of the gopis. Jagannath is performing my Leela, that Leela with me. So Prabhupada said Krishna is not attracted to this body of flesh and mundane things. So the point is that that particular Madhurya flavor, in terms of the conjugal, we have to be a little more careful and respectful of that. That can lead to Sahajiaism very easily. And because Radharani Radha was that her position has been misunderstood quite often. That is why Prabhupada who used the word Srimati Radha, Bhaktivedanta Thakur would mostly use the word Shri Radha or Srimati Radha. Chakravarti Pada and Rupa Goswami, they simply use Radha. Because at that time, this Sahaja tendency had not become that much. So when there are certain cautionary notes given for us, they are to protect us from dangers. But we can't make those cautionary notes. We can't neglect them completely, but at the same time, we don't have to let them become absolute principles which block us our spiritual growth. So Madhurya, in terms of having a personal relationship with Krishna, in our personal prayers, if you see Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the songs that he has written, they are, it's like he's talking with Krishna, and Krishna is a person right next to him. So they are in a mood of a very intimate relationship, and that's very much within our tradition. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
So thank you very much. Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki, Rantraj Shri Bhagavatam ki, Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki, Gaura Premanand ki.
Very, very